that continue to shape the discourse in his field of expertise. Additionally, his role as a reviewer and academic editor for top-tier journal underscore his influence and dedication to maintaining the highest standard of academic integrity. Professor Paiko's leadership extends beyond his research achievement at IBB University, La Paris. He served in various key administrative roles, including as Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, where he has played a pivotal role in shaping academic policies and fostering an environment of excellence. His leadership is marked by a commitment to both academic rigor and the holistic development of the university community. Beyond his administrative and research responsibility, Professor Paiko is a passionate mentor who has guided numerous master's and PhD candidates to success in Nigeria and Malaysia. His mentorship is not only academic, but also inspirational, encouraging his mentees to pursue their research with the same dedication and zeal that he exemplified. In addition to his academics and administrative contributions, Professor Paiko is a highly respected resource person, frequently invited to speak at seminars, symposiums, and workshops on writing successful research grants. His expertise is in securing local and international grants has not only advanced his research, but has also empowered many others to achieve their academic goals. Professor Paiko's contribution has been recognized both nationally and internationally through various fellowships, awards, and accolades. His presence at numerous conferences where he has often been honored for his outstanding presentation is a testament to his stature in the academic community. Outside his professional life, Professor Paiko is a man of diverse interests, including reading, writing, cycling, and engaging in volunteer work. He is a devoted family man, married with 3 children, and is deeply passionate about promoting entrepreneurship as a means of societal development. Professor Paiko, we are truly honored to have you with us. You are warmly welcome, sir. At this point, the mic is yours. Please let's welcome Professor Paiko with our favorite emoji, even as he takes the mic. Professor, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you, John Messiah.
You're welcome.
My own vice president. You forgot to also say I am currently the president of the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave Society, a very prestigious position which I share with you as my vice president, as do we have also 3 other vice presidents. Thank you very much, and thank you very, very elaborately for that very beautiful presentation. I feel highly honored to be here today. I wish to share my slide, if I may, so that we can get the matter started. Can you see my slide, ladies and gentlemen? Somebody should indicate.
Yes, we can see it, sir.
Yes, clearly,
Yes,
sir.
you can see it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Especially, I appreciate the efforts of our own distinguished secretary, the secretariat, all the technical partners in Aegis who have gone out of their comfort zones to make this presentation possible today. I feel highly honored, and I believe we're going to have a very, very interesting morning. I am asked to do a presentation of 1 hour, and I will, without further ado, having enjoyed the very beautiful presentation by my vice president, I welcome everyone from wherever it is you're joining us. This is the spirit of Aegis. This is the spirit of what we do in Aegis. We look at pertinent issues and that affect research. Kindly please Everyone who is not talking for now, please mute your microphones so that we can enjoy the 1 hour, 2 hours that we're going to spend together. If you're not talking now, please put off your microphone. And please, those of you who are not also speaking, please put off your video, because there are people joining us by phone and it is consuming a lot of data. So to help our brothers and sisters so that we can all enjoy and maximize the use of our data, please switch off your microphones and your videos so that we consume as little of the data of our brothers and sisters as possible. Having said that, welcoming you, I was asked by popular opinion. I was at TETFund organized presentation in Abuja, I think 2 weeks ago. During the time I was there, I met so many members of Aegis, and by popular demand, the concept note, those who won concept notes, they got their results. And by popular demand there and then, many people asked me if I could make a presentation to help those who have won, their concept notes have won, to help them so that they can polish their full proposal so that they can also win. So this presentation is specific for that purpose, but also if you are here because of other grants that may be called upon, it will also benefit you in one way or another. So pardon us and excuse us if this does not meet your full requirement. If you are talking about other grants, we have done other presentations. I'm sure if you check our database, you'll be able to find that for writing concept notes and so many others. But this particular presentation has been prepared specifically for those whose concept note was deemed to have been successful, and therefore they are moving to write their full proposal, which to my understanding is due for submission in about 10 days from today. And therefore the topic for my presentation today is translating your research objectives into project activities in your methodology, and of course the budget for your project when trying to craft a fundable TETFund full proposal from an accepted concept note. Of course, I have already been introduced. My name is Aliyu Mohammed Paiko. I am currently the president of Aegis. My presentation is at Aegis, but I am also a professor of nutritional biotechnology, or some people say professor of nutrigenomics. I'm a biotechnologist. I am also the vice chancellor of Abdulkadir Kure University, Mina. I am happy to be here today. So specifically, if you have submitted a concept note to TETFund and the TETFund has deemed your concept note to be successful, I say congratulations to all of you. It means you are excellent. Your concept is excellent. TETFund deems that among the thousands submitted, yours has come out one of the tops, and therefore you deserve accolade for that trial. It means you have come this far, and it also means that, of course, the concept which you have has the potential to be fundable. Therefore, congratulations and congratulations and congratulations. We cannot congratulate you enough. It is not a small feat. Usually last year, 7,800 plus concept notes were submitted. I am told preliminary figures show that for this year, they received over 6,000. I don't know the figures yet. Usually we know that concept notes, they receive at least 6,000 and above. I'm not sure whether this one for this year will not be more than 8,000. But usually between 8 to 10% are accepted. So it means those who have been accepted are in the neighborhood of about 500 to 700, those neighborhoods. So congrats for being one of those whose concept note is deemed to have been successful. Now, do we need to remind you that it is still a competition. You are still in competition. The 300 plus of you that are listening to me, and the numbers are rising quite very, very fast. It means you are in competition amongst yourself. If all of you are among those who have won, you should know while you are here listening to me, you are in competitions with yourselves. You are also in competition with me. Because like I said, many were called, thousands submitted. Very few are chosen. They have just given you a scale between 500 to 700, I think thereabout. And again, even fewer. It means even among us here, some of us, our concept notes will also drop. I am saying some of us because I am also included. Among my group, we have submitted about 6. Out of the 6, 4 of them have been deemed to have scaled through. 2 for Abdulkadir Kure University, here where I am, and then two in collaboration with IBB University. So we have 4 that have been accepted. In IBB University, I did a presentation like this yesterday. They also have about 14. Out of the 14, I have about 4 that we're collaborating with there. So you can see the competition is stiff and it's going to get stiffer. I believe IBB University submitted about 30 and they got about 14, roughly about 50% accepted. So it means the competition is getting tough. It's only when you stay with, they say, follow those who know road. Follow he who knows the road. And in the last 3 to 5 years, I believe Aliyu Mohammed Paiko and my group, we've been able to be giving seminars like this. We know what we're doing. The winning of the numbers that we put in means that we already understand what is happening. And therefore, it's no accident that I am being asked to be one of those who does the presentation. And I'm happy to share the knowledge with our audience. Now, you are there, or not quite, you are almost. Out of all of you who are competing, you know, we are at the point where in a 100 meters dash, we are getting to the end line, and everybody is trying to breast, you know, the tape to take a medal. And so that's where we are right now. All those that we started together with, we have left so many behind. I forgot to say that if yours didn't win, it doesn't mean that you are bad. It means that you are in the learning process. Retain your interest. But for those who have come this far, it means we are almost breasting the tape to be counted among those who will receive the medal. And so you cannot allow yourself to falter at this particular stage. All the remaining energy, the remaining glucose in your muscles, all the remaining glucose in your brain, you need to now focus them and ensure that you are counted among those who will receive the Naira and Kobo from TETFund to say, we are funding your project. Therefore, do not falter, do not relent, keep up the effort. Let's go. So the outline for my presentation is just about 5 sections. I'll do some background. Then we'll talk about your research aim, the general and specific objectives. Then we'll talk about your methodology and the activities. And of course, your research budgeting and why you should be very, very prudent with your budgeting. And then we shall conclude and do some acknowledgements as we always do. Now to the background. Of course, we need to remind you that for a grant, it's a financial reward. You are looking for money from TETFund. It will be given to someone who is qualified. If you are not qualified in the first place, why would you have applied for TETFund? Why would you have put the concept note forward? And it is, if they do give you the money, it is for a specific purpose. And therefore, for you to be able to get that financial reward from that particular granting body, TETFund, to be advanced to your organization. Remember, if you win the NRF, it's not for you alone, it's for your organization. And it will be given to your organization, whether it's a polytechnic, college of education, or it is a university. The financial assistance which TETFund will give you for that project will be for approved proposal. So you want your proposal now to be approved. That's where we are. You are trying to see how you can convince them with the full proposal, having gotten your concept, you know, accepted. So if you receive that financial reward, it's most likely you are going to be the principal investigator or one of the investigators. And therefore, remember, it's for a specific purpose. You need to demonstrate that you are qualified and that you can carry out that research, and it will be within the specified limits inside the approved proposal. So you are trying to get the approved proposal approved by TETFund now. And therefore, talking about the research itself, I cannot remind you enough that when we say research, we are talking about diligent systematic inquiry, which you are going to do, or you are going to investigate something into a particular subject matter in order to discover facts and principles. That is our definition for research. And for the purpose of grant writing to TETFund, you are trying to get that money to do that diligent investigation so that you can solve particular problems that are listed in your grant proposal. And to that extent, who then is the researcher? It is those of you who are the investigators, those of you who will be inside that group doing the analysis. It is those of you who persist onto that particular problem. It is those of you who are curious and you want to solve a problem. It is those of you who apply the methodical procedure to be able to solve the problem. However, remember, when we say who is the researcher, sometimes we forget that the research team also encompasses those who are called the principal investigator and other investigators who are in the group who wrote the proposal and everything. It also includes authorized signing bodies like the vice chancellor who will eventually sign off the final proposal. It includes maybe your director of research R&D who would have signed one or two things. It also includes those who work as research administrators in the R&D department who are able to help, to ensure that the proposal is put into shape. So don't forget that the academic research team also encompasses all these groups of people to be the research team. And therefore, the principal investigator, we want you to know, is the most important person in the whole of this writing procedure. Those who have listened to me before, we cannot emphasize this enough. He is the most qualified person designated by the institution who will direct that research project. He usually writes the grant application with help from some people. He eventually, when you get the money, he will oversee the management of the project activities from scientific, technical, day-to-day, the money spent, the way you get authorization, the way you use your laboratories, the travel that you will do to collect data, to analyze data, to look for the technical things to help you to be able to complete the project. It is the PI whose responsibility it is. And therefore, if there are more than one investigators in a group, you will already know that your PI is the leader. And for the PI to be able to exhibit their leadership potential, they must be able to have a lot of skills. They must be able to demonstrate a lot of expertise. First, they must have competence. They should be able to know more than 60, 70% of the whole project that you're putting forward. Make sure that your PI has so many skills. He has skills for writing. He has skills for using laboratory equipment. He should have skills for being able to communicate with people. He should have skills that transcend beyond even the project itself. In his leadership skill, the PI must take responsibility, must be responsible to all the project, and must assign responsibility to each and every project member. To be able to communicate efficiently and effectively within the group, between the group members and your university management, between the group members and the funding agency, must be able to communicate laterally, diagonally, vertically, must be somebody who has the power for execution. That's why we always want a senior person to be your PI. Imagine if you want to use some certain equipment in a particular laboratory. If he is a lecturer one, it will take very serious persuasion to be able to get that. But once he's a professor or an associate professor, usually you will have powers for execution. I'm talking about, the power within to be able to give instructions and people follow. And the PI must be able to offer support to the group, must be able to support the stronger ones and the younger ones in the group, must be able to exhibit teamwork spirit such that if there is a problem, you should be able to harness members of the group or other people to help to resolve the matter. He shouldn't be a boss. Should be somebody who sees all other members of the group as equal in the team, as teammates. And of course, the person should be highly motivated and must be able to motivate others to be able to achieve. So PI is a very, very important personality. And to that extent, when you are putting forward a final proposal, as you're trying to do now with your PI and the group, the aim is to show that to TETFund that really the concept you have put forward is important. It is based on very strong academic basis. It's not by guesswork. It is with strong academic basis. Therefore, whatever it is you are putting out as facts, you have to cite authoritative sources. You have to give recent data. You must justify whatever it is you say, not as speculation, but as academic fact. And that the proposal you are putting forward is well thought out in terms of its research methods. So you can see the emphasis is where I have put the arrow there. The main thing you do when you are writing the full proposal is to say, this is well thought out in terms of its methodology, that again, finally, because of this well thought out methodology, this project is feasible. We are able to deliver it within the time frame, and it will make the necessary impact that we have said it will make. So this is the key when you are writing your full proposal. And to that extent, since the concept has been accepted, once your concept note has been accepted, you spend more time now thinking of how to methodically put forward your project, and you'll spend less time thinking about the research concept. The concept has been accepted, and therefore forget about thinking about the concept. You have been approved. Yes, this project is feasible. Go ahead, tell us how you are going to deliver it. So you put on your thinking cap now, and then you put forward a project that is methodical, so that you are able to win over the reviewers and get your project funded. And to that extent, the whole reason for the full proposal is asking you to justify the project idea. So remember, when you had the project idea that you put forward in the concept note, when you did the background, you were trying to tell the current situation of the issues at hand. And of course, you were also trying to convince in the problem statement and everything, your desired situation that will happen. From the current situation, things are not working so well. So you were able to expose the gap in knowledge or gap of problem in the whole entire project proposal. And so when you expose the gap, so you now expose the need to address that problem. That is what you did in your concept note. So right now, your focus is on the project. You have already exposed the need. You have exposed the problem by the problem statement in the concept note. All you want to do now is to focus on the project design. So the community need assessment is a key step to project design. So the project design is now the key, because it will help to address the problem which you have already exposed in your concept note. So remember, your focus is now no more the concept. It is now the project, how you are going to deliver to solve those problems which you have already exposed. So straightforward, once you already know the problem statement, I won't dwell on it. If you want to know how to write a problem statement, of course, you have to go back to my previous slide of concept note. We have gone beyond that. We are talking about the project, and therefore the most important thing now in your project is your objectives. You know, what is your goal that you want to achieve? What are those objectives that you want to? So the goals and objectives must be your focus. It's like you are in a race, in a marathon with a car, and everywhere is muddy, because the whole essence is for you to win the race. Is for the driver to remain focused. That's why your windscreen will remain clean. So long as the windscreen, as at this time when you are in the race, in the car, you want your windscreen is the most important part to keep the pathway very, very clear to you. And so the pathway is your objectives, your goals. So you define the focus of the study. Clearly, you identify the variables to be measured. You indicate the various steps to be involved, you establish the limits of your study, and then you avoid collecting data which may not add anything to you. So this is essential, how you focus on your goal and your objectives when writing your full proposal. And to focus, you start from your what the project is expected to benefit the target beneficiaries on the long run. You first of all focus on the project goal and the main objective. What is the main focus? What is the main objective? And then you move down to the means to achieve those goals. And then you move down to breaking the main objective into specific objectives that you need to achieve. And we shall define this. Then you now move to the activities which you need to do for each of the objectives that you have set out to achieve. And then, of course, you also focus on the expenditure or your timeline per activity. Some activity will take you 2 weeks, some 2 days, some a month, some 3 days, so that at the end of the day, the project activity for TETFund usually does not exceed 24 months. You want to highlight that all your project can be completed and you submit your report in 24 months. And so you break those activities for each objective into timelines per activity. And then, of course, you end up telling us the expected outcomes, the output and impact, so that you tie everything together. So this is your main focus when you're writing the full proposal now. And what are those objectives? The objectives, they specify what the research project proposes to accomplish. You are proposing what you are hoping to do, what you are hoping to achieve, what you are hoping to estimate, what you are hoping to determine. You also want your reviewers to know what you want to measure, what you are trying to evaluate, and so on and so forth. So they are usually best specified in the general and specific parts. So often the shortest part of the proposal is the centerpiece. So your objectives, they might look at like 2 pages when you write the objectives. However, they are the centerpiece of your full proposal. So the general objectives, they state the main purpose of the study. It should derive directly from the research problem statement. 1 sentence is usually the best, to teach mothers nutrition information about how to care for their babies. Your general objective is the goal you want to achieve. And it is usually the goal is in 1 sentence. But you break that goal or main objective into what we call specific objectives. So the specific objectives, they are set or a list of sub-objectives, each of which contributes to achieving the general objective. So every little step you meet a particular specific objective, it takes you a step closer to achieving your goal. So every objective you achieve, you break your main objective into specific objectives, so that every specific objective you achieve is taking you a step closer to achieving your main objectives. So sometimes people make mistakes. What are goals and what are objectives? So a goal is generally a broad statement of what you wish to accomplish. Goals are big, they are broad, they include vision and general intentions. Goals are themselves hard to measure. You hardly can measure a goal. And they discuss the ultimate impact of an outcome. They only discuss the ultimate impact of an outcome. Goals also use visionary words, such as to decrease. So you use visionary words with your goals, such as to decrease, to deliver, to develop, to establish, to improve, so on and so forth. An example of a goal will be to decrease the degree of malnutrition among young children in North Central region of Nigeria. This is a statement of a goal, just one statement. You can see it is really very difficult for you to be able to measure this, to decrease the degree of malnutrition. How? To what extent? Among how many people? In what particular region? Is it generally the whole North Central? So goals are just statements that are broad, but they include a vision of generally what you want to achieve, like I said earlier. But when we move to objective, you can see that an objective represents a step towards accomplishing a goal. So you break your goal or your main objective into measurable, objectives. So the measurable objectives or specific objectives are very, very small aspects that you break down the goal into. So objectives are specific measurable pieces. They are very narrow, they are precise, they are tangible, they are concrete, and they are also measurable. And so objectives should be smart, and objectives should be stated as outcomes and should be the specific result of an activity. So when you say objective, an example of an objective will be, looking at the goal. Now let's break it to an objective. By the end of 2026, to provide 125 mothers in North Central Nigeria with a 2-hour training program that will provide them with information on health and nutrition. So you can see this is measurable. You are going to measure it at the end of 2026. And it means before then, you would have already had how much information was there. Those people were trained. What was their training level? And the number is specific. You can see 125 mothers and specific to a particular region in North Central Nigeria. And the training also is specific for 2-hour training program that will provide them again specific information about health and nutrition. So you can see the difference between a goal and an objective. Now, like we have said, your objective has to be smart. It has to be specific to the people who will receive it, specific to the time frame, specific to a certain group of people. It has to be measurable. You have to measure what was it before. It was 2, now it is 8. No, it was 20% before, now it is 80%. So it has to be measurable. And then it should be attainable. You say 2 hours training. You should be able to train 125 mothers. 2 hours training, you should be able to do it within a scope of 2 weeks. And then it has to be realistic. You should not be able to take so many. Some people want to change the world. An objective that hopes to change the world. I don't know how that kind of objective would look like. So it has to be realistic. TETFund is going to give you money for 2 years max. So what will you be able to achieve in those 2 years? Considering the fact that you will not only be doing TETFund's work. So it has to be realistic. And of course, has to be time phased, or what they call time bound, within the 2 years. So whatever specific activity you choose, when you put it on your Gantt chart, should be able to allot enough time to be able to finish that specific activity within the given time frame. And therefore, reminding people about what I said about objectives during the proposal writing, I told you that the objectives and the project idea, the objectives are what the project idea seeks to achieve, what you want to carry out, what you want, the problem you want to solve. Now, I said objective must demonstrate 3 attributes. They must be clear. You state objectives not ambiguous or confusing. Ambiguous objectives are those that can be translated differently by different people. You want whatever you say is clear. About 80–90% will be able to understand what that means directly without them needing someone else to translate. So because you are dealing with different reviewers, you want them to understand you clearly, not ambiguously. It must rhyme. Again, your objective must rhyme with your title of your study and the methodology you want to carry out. And then secondly, it must be achievable. We already measured this. You have 2 years. Some people would want to train 5,000 people in 20 locations. That's probably not achievable in 2 years. How do you organize that within 2 years? So you have to choose achievable based on the time and resources allotted. If they give you 30 million, for you to say you want to train 50,000 people in North Central Nigeria in 2 years, it's going to be a very, very tall order, even if it is the training alone. So it must demonstrate that the listed objectives can be achieved within the allotted time and allotted resources. So it has to also be a logical ordering. Activities that you're going to do in order to achieve set of objectives must be in a logical order so that there is no confusion. If you want to train farmers, you have to first of all visit, you have to choose the locations, maybe 6 locations. For each location you have to visit, you do a stakeholder meeting, then you'll be able to tell the stakeholders there what your intentions are. and then the farmers will now indicate interest. You list down and register the farmers. You can see the steps taken, you know, stakeholder engagement first, and then the farmers show interest, and then you register them, and then you now designate a day and location where you will do the training, and then you do a training manual, and then after the manual is drawn, then on the appointed day, you give them refreshment, give them transport to come there, and then you train them. You know, so every activity to achieve every objective, just training of farmers, you can see the steps, you know, each one following in a logical order. You don't talk about manual when you have not done the stakeholder engagement, when you have not even discussed with the farmers to show interest, you know, so you don't jumble them up, you know, is what we're saying. So activities should be in the order to achieve the objective. This is an expo. If you miss this, it's a very, very strong point where you will miss a lot of points and your proposal might not be considered. And now I give examples. When we were doing the application of biotechnology tools to be able to develop sugar beet varieties in Nigeria, you know, there are examples from our sugar beet concept note. The first thing you do in your objectives, you want to apply the biotechnology to molecular markers, you know, efficient profiling of genetic diversity among different developed sugar beet varieties for selection and breeding of promising varieties. You have to do that before you crossbreed after taking the genetic material from different sugar beet varieties. You crossbreed and then you get a new variety. And then next, you determine the growth performance and yield of sugar of the new one. And then so that you can choose the most adaptive sugar beet varieties. And then next is to determine the biochemical quality in terms of sugar production. And then next is to determine other uses of the sugar beets developed. So you can see when doing this biotech study, we had to do from the beginning. We have different varieties. We take the genetic markers, we crossbreed, we determine the best after doing the field trial. Then we try to determine the quality. Each of these objectives have to be achieved. You have to meet this specific objective before you move to the next. You achieve the next, then you move to the next. It has to be in that logical, chronological order. If not, the person reading it will be confused and you will lose points. Now, as to our research methodology, that is where our research activities are, you know, to show you, even when you choose your objectives, for each objective, the activities which you do during the methodology, they matter for you to be able to achieve that particular objective. Some objectives, you can do one activity and achieve them. Some objectives is a set of activities which have to happen in logical order. So, but when we say research methodology, it's quite different from your research method. So I have put this slide here so that people will now be awakened. You know, in this slide is showing you the difference between what we call research methods and research methodology. To a very large extent, when we are talking about research proposal writing, we are talking mostly about the research methodology, the one to the extreme right. And sometimes we also talk about the methods. But when we say methodology as a broad terminology, the meaning is it is the way to systematically solve a research problem. So the steps that you take to solve a research problem is called the research methodology. During the steps to do the methodology, like just the biotech technique I just told you, when we're extracting the genes, you can use a particular method to extract the genes. You can either use the kit method or you use the conventional method of gene extraction. So that would be a method, because a method, it implies the method employed by the researcher to conduct a particular research. But the methodology is the way to systematically solve the research problem. So what is it? The methodology is the science of understanding how research is performed methodically. Now it encompasses a study of different techniques which can be utilized in the performance of the experiment, a test, or a survey. And then it comprises of the entire strategy towards the achievement of the objective. You can see I'm focusing on the methodology here. And the objective of the methodology is to apply the correct procedures so as to determine the solutions. So when we say methodology broadly in research proposal writing, we are talking about the one to the extreme right. In the trying to a particular step of the methodology, you might apply a method. You know, sometimes maybe you want to do some in biochemistry, you want to do like you want to do spectrophotometry. It's a method, you know, for you to be able to see concentration change in a particular medium or something like that. So I needed to put this slide here so that people understand that methodology, it requires that systematic procedure to solve the research problems. And the activities, as we have told you, I just gave you an example. The activities must be methodical and must be logical. You could have an objective that is multi-tier activities. You have to do one step first before you move to the next step. Like you can see in this particular slide, the example I give you, you see there will be a phase, maybe phase one, a baseline study, where you do in the baseline study, there are many sub-activities. They did a stakeholders workshop first on a given date. Then they carry out the baseline completion of the first draft of they did a carrying out of the baseline on July and August. And then they did completion of the draft of the report and then completion of first draft of the report by August. So you can see, even for the baseline study, there are 3 sub-activities. So you can say the baseline is one objective. And so it has these sub-activities. The second one, the intervention, is another objective. The intervention, training needs assessment, November 2008. Training in business provided to both groups by small industry organization. You did another date. And then training in ICT to benefit group, giving ICT intervention, training in ICTs to benefit a group, September 2009. Giving ICT intervention to benefit the group, January. Then monitoring visits to access use of the intervention, March, April. So that's another objective. How to, you know, ensure that the interventions reach the research components. And then you break it down into sub-activities. And then you have another objective, a second survey of both groups and report writing. Then there are sub-activities, field work, June 2010, analysis, July, September 2010, then preparation of final report, October 2010. So what this is just trying to tell you, once you pick an objective, some objectives have one activity, but most objectives have multiple activities to be able to achieve. So ensure that each activity, just like the objectives are arranged in a chronological order or in a methodical order to achieve the objectives, also arrange the activities in a logical, methodical order to be able to achieve that particular objective. And it now brings us to clarifying what it means by output and outcome. At the end of every activity, you have to demonstrate that this activity has really made an impact. And trying to show it makes an impact, you actually show the output of those activities as a way of output, or you want to show the result of a particular activity as output, or on the long run as outcomes. But people sometimes confuse these two terminologies. When we say output, we are saying what result out of input. For the training, I was talking to you about the example on training farmers. The input will be the venue, the amount of food you're going to buy for them for refreshment, the logbook that you create, the training manual, the farmers themselves that will be trained, the resource person that will be able to carry out the training, you know, the cost of the venue for you to pay. They are all the inputs that you're going to put in training the farmers. And then your output will be the direct product of the program's activity and services. So what will be the output? Farmers trained on fertilizer application. So that will be your output. You put in farmers, you put in your logbook, you put in the money, because everything you do as an activity has some financial commitment to it. That's why you break it down like that. So whereas output are the direct product of the program activities, they are what to result from what you put in, input, and then the outcomes are usually changes resulting from a program's activities and services. So what will be the outcome now? The outcome for the training will be changes in behavior of the farmers after they have been trained on fertilizer application. And the change in application will be maybe selection of fertilizer types. They will learn because they now are trained on how fertilizer should be applied. They know the concentration for each fertilizer is different, NPK is different, urea is different, cow dung is different. They will now know the different types of fertilizer. So they will change their behavior. If they want to grow pepper, maybe they will go for cow dung. If they want to grow corn, they will go for NPK. So those changes in behavior, and then it will lead to reduction in waste of fertilizer. It's a change in behavior. Before, there used to be wastages, or they didn't used to apply enough. So all those changes in behavior that result out of the output, out of what the tangibles that they learn, is what we call the outcomes. So, and the outcomes usually, like the second point suggests, the outputs are often expressed numerically or quantified in some way. If you say training how many farmers? We train 125 farmers. You can quantify the number of people trained. But the outcome, you usually cannot quantify. You know, quantity changes in knowledge, attitude, behavior. The only tangibles you get is the changes in their behavior. So whereas outputs can be measured, can be quantified, the outcome is just changes quantifiable in terms of the changes in their attitudes and behavior, or the condition of a particular thing which you have been able to change its dynamics. So example of output will be attending workshops. You can count the number of people. Receiving services, you can, you know, like you give computers to undergraduate students, 20 undergraduates, you can count those. Or receiving referrals. 35 people referred me to that particular program. You know, so these are examples of outputs. Whereas example of outcome would be knowledge of healthy choices. If you taught people about making healthy choices about the kinds of food they eat, so the outcome will be changes in their behavior, in the food types they choose, in the types of times they eat, in the quantities of food they eat, in the timing or number of meals they take per day. Or example again, adoption healthy practices, you know, for people to exercise, you know, to exercise twice a day, to be able to drink water on very sunny day, you know, to be able to drink water regularly. And then, of course, food security, you know, knowledge about food availability, knowledge about quantity of food that is enough for the nation to consume and things like that. So I needed to put this for people to be able to clarify what outputs are and that they are different from the outcomes. Going forward, let's now enter into the budget, which is the main and probably final part of my discussion. You would know already that a budget is a financial plan. It is what outlines the anticipated costs associated with a project or a program for which an organization seeks funding. It demonstrates to the funders how the requested fund will be used effectively and efficiently to achieve the project's objectives. You know, everything in your project, all the noise you're making from the beginning, from your title up to the end, you're going to reduce everything in this section into monetary terms, naira and kobo. Everything about the whole project, it will be reduced to this financial plan, or it will be reduced to this budget. So at the end of the day, everything, if you talked about it, it makes sense. But when you are translating into the money and it becomes too bogus, then you will have wasted a lot of your time. So the budget is for you to reduce all the noise, all the activities you do, all the objectives you want to achieve, to reduce it into a form in which naira and kobo will be explained to have been expended, or you want them to know how much each of those cost. If your project is very beautiful, you have a very big problem to solve, and they agree with you that we should solve this problem. If the bill, the financial bill that comes in this financial plan is too bogus, nobody will be able to fund it for you. Best case scenario, they'll say, excellent project, but then too expensive. So what does the purpose of budgeting? Of course, it is a mechanism of translating your objectives into cash, kobo and naira. And of course, the spending plan, or the pattern they're going to spend the money. It enhances your financial planning and of course, decision making. Except you have the money, whatever it is you have planned, all the issue about training farmers I'm talking about, you know, teaching women how to get information about nutrition. If it is too expensive, nobody will want to fund it. For the training of farmers on fertilizer application, imagine you want to train 200 farmers and the training is going to cost 15 naira. It's too expensive, my friend. Nobody will fund that. And at the end of the day, your budget, it's for you to recognize those part of your project that has controllable monetary terms or costs, and some others that do not have controllable areas, so that you are able to plan appropriately. Now, the budget is like this. Usually when we submit a research proposal, there is a template. This first part is called the total budget. You have to, in your budget, you have to plan the budget to be properly. You plan it properly. You are very realistic. You are very prudent, and you spend what is necessary. And we always tell people, when you want to budget, aim for what we call the zero budget. The essence of zero budget is you plan from scratch. It's not that your budget of somebody else you are bringing and you are trying to do plus minus, or budget of a project that was approved for you before, you want to bring it and try to make some adjustment based on inflation. No, you plan the budget from scratch. How many personnel will we use? The PI, who is he? How many months will he work? How much? You know, the other co-PIs, how much? You budget from scratch. And the heart of zero budget is to plan in such a way that every naira inside your budget is performing some tasks. Zero budget is not planned for you to spend all the money. No, you are planning in such a way that every kobo you are asking for is going to be performing a specific responsibility. That's the reason why there is no such thing as miscellaneous expenditure. No, everything has to be expended. So you budget for personnel first, you budget for other personnel, then you do a total for the personnel. Then fringe benefits, if there are any, for the PI, co-PIs, and technicians. Then other direct costs, equipment cost, how much? Travel costs. So this first one is called what we call the total budget. What the whole project is going to cost in total in naira and kobo. This is what it's called. And then you do other indirect costs, F&A costs, 38% of this. Total directs and F&A cost is this. Then project total cost, you identify them. Each section calculated very carefully and very reasonably and very prudently, and putting in only those who are necessary. In personnel, if 7 people can do the project, why put 10? The remaining 3 will constitute for you a liability. Now, like I said, during the project proposal writing, when we're doing concept note, now I said to you that the budget is it describes the breakdown of funds needed to carry out or achieve your objectives, and that the budget should also demonstrate 3 attributes. It has to be realistic, has to be reasonable, and applicable to carry out activities and to achieve the set objectives. I have mentioned there also zero budgeting. Budget from scratch, every item, the number of personnel needed, the number of equipment needed, everything calculated based on need. Zero budget. Every kobo in your budget sheet performing certain tasks. Not for you to put money that must be spent to yield zero. No. Budget everything prudently such that every kobo put in there, there is a task that it is performing. Secondly, the budget must be justifiable. There is a section of budget which says budget justification. Why would you need a tractor if the whole of your project is going to be on 1 hectare of land? Why will you put the cost of a tractor? So you have to justify, you know. Why would you need a project vehicle when your project is located inside your university farm at one location? Why would you need a project vehicle? Except your project is scattered, you know, in 5, 6 local government, and you will need to be carrying fertilizer as you move along from one place to the other. You need to be carrying certain tools to be moving from your central location to those peripheral parts. Why would you need a project vehicle? Why would you need a computer when whatever it is you're going to do as computer scientists is a software? And if you say you don't have a computer, what does that tell about you? How were you performing your jobs before? So everything must be justified. If the cost is in dollars and there's fluctuation of dollars, you can put some amount more. If, for example, we check online and it says it's $1,500, but the fluctuation of the naira in the last 3 months have been such that it's been upwards, so you can put 1,600. In the budget justification, you will say the additional $100 is to take care of inflation in case before this fund is released that the inflationary trend has also affected it. So this is where you explain everything, you justify everything. Why do you need 7 people? Yes, this person has expertise on microbiology. This person has expertise of biotechnology. This one is a soil scientist to do this part. This one is agri-economist to be able to calculate the cost benefit, like that. So everything must be justifiable. Then appropriately allocated, you allocate every fund appropriately. The equipment, you allocate the funds for equipment under equipment section. For consumables, on the consumables section. Personnel, you put personnel costs where the personnel are. And then travel costs, you put costs for travel where it is supposed to be. Usually, like I say, TETFund has a template. So also every other funding agency that we have applied to. And then, of course, you should always make sure it's in the operating currency. Because the funding agency is in Nigeria, you give the operating currency as naira. Even if you are importing in dollars, you can import in dollars, you put the amount, but you translate back to naira. And when you translate back to naira, in your budget, justification, like I said, you explain the prevailing circumstance of the exchange rate. If it is fluctuating very wildly, then you have put some money a little above, is under the justification that you will explain. So that when they calculate, because as you two check for prices online, people also check, they will also check. So be very careful to ensure that your budget is in the prevailing currency of naira, even if you are importing anything from abroad. I have tried to make you understand on this page that when you do the budgeting during the call, you will see that budgeting under the concept note was basically an estimate. And so when you will see, it says you mentioned the budget estimate, you break it down into maybe 4 or 5 parts just to show the total cost. Maybe you have said 49,950, and broadly you have categorized into 5 different subcategories. When you do for full proposal, you have the template has a section 5, financial aspect of the project. In this, whatever it is you have put on your concept note, you are going to break it down into these sub-budget activities. Personnel cost different, equipment different, laboratory consumables different, data collection and analysis different, travel related to the research activities. International travel will be funded only when absolutely necessary. So they are also giving you pointers regarding the things that they will not fund. The international travel will be funded only when absolutely necessary. So to a very large extent, nobody will fund for you to travel abroad. That's what they are saying. And then there will be funds for report writing, and then, of course, dissemination of results. And just below, they give you a section where they explain for you 3 sections usually have limits. For example, you should note that 25% of a total budget may be spent on equipment. This is what they are saying. 25% of total budget, you can't spend more than 25% on equipment. And then you can't spend more than 20% on personnel. And out of the total of 20%, assuming the maximum budget is 50 million, assuming you are asking for 45 million, and you have personnel, you can't spend 45 million, 20% of 45 million is 9 million. It means whatever it is, you can't spend more than 9 million on personnel costs, including the PI, the co-PIs, all your mentees, that will be worked, your technicians, so long as it is personnel cost, you cannot spend more than 9 million. If you are asking a total of 45 million in your project proposal. And they have also said you can't spend more than 3% on dissemination. Dissemination means whether you are going for conference, or you're going to do seminars, or you're going to go to radio and broadcast, or you're going to do some newspaper publishing. Dissemination of your research information can go in different forms, but in total, you can't spend more than 3% of the total budget on dissemination. This is the meaning. Apart from that, every other section, the maximum allocation of 5% of total budget, they said such collaboration may in some special cases involve travel outside the country, but the financial commitment to such travels are not to be minimized, leading to overall maximum allocation of 5% of total budget. So imagine if you have collaboration elsewhere and you want to do some travels internationally, they will not permit you to spend more than 5% of your total budget on this international trip. 5% of your budget of 45 million I just spoke about, which is 2.75 million. Where can that take you? Except you are going to probably Ghana or Nigeria or Republic of Benin. So international travel as much as possible, this countenance for this process. So what I'm saying here is this is the actual template, the budget template for the full proposal. You have to put this differently. And I took the pain to, someone asked me to help look at their budget. So I have taken aspects of that budget and I have brought it here for learning purpose. You can see the items description to your left, and then the expected from TETFund is where you will put what you are expecting TETFund to give you money. But funny enough, I see that many people run away from what the institution is going to provide. And I always tell people that is irresponsible, because while you are doing your research, your institution is also paying salaries to the personnel you're going to use. So nothing stops you from putting the salaries. Although I have seen somewhere they say, except for salaries, you shouldn't put there. But if during the time you are carrying out this project, if you're going to be receiving some money that will be motivation to you, that is personnel related cost, like as we just got agreement now, and they are increasing the salary by 40%. And so if you are getting that money within the time frame to motivate you to do the work, I mean, TETFund is not going to say bring the money, but the reasonable thing to do is to tell TETFund that while you are giving me this personnel cost, just know that the university, I'm getting some money as personnel cost also in terms of this. They won't calculate that and deduct from what you're asking from them. No, it's just a means of telling TETFund that there's contribution from my institution, especially when you go to 2.0 equipment. If you are going to be using 10 equipment and you are asking TETFund to pay for 3 equipment costing 11 million, the responsible thing to do is the other 7 equipment that the university is providing you with, that you are going to use for this project, is to do a rough total of the cost of those equipment. List the equipment after the one you are asking. It can go under those 3 equipment there, and then you list those that you have in the university. You say available in the university total cost, and then under the institution in bracket, maybe 25 million, just to give them a scale of, it is not only the equipment that they are paying for that will be used for the project, but you have other equipment in your laboratory that will also be used for the project. It's a way of telling them that the institution too is contributing. Data analysis too, the same thing. For travels, the same thing. Dissemination, the same thing also. If apart from that, maybe in the dissemination, local conferences, you are budgeting 236 million. If during this period, you have TETFund conference that will take you to, for example, Kenya, or it will take you to Germany, you also include the money that your university has provided for you during the project period. And of course, if you are going to be disseminating some of the information about this project there, is for you to show that your institution also, because the TETFund conference that is coming to your institution belongs to your institution, is the quota for institution. So you put the money also under institution. And then I'm asking only for 236,000 to go for local conference. But I also have international conference in Germany that is paid for about 6 million for my university. So you list it there. So I specifically put this there so that people know, because I have seen that people shy away from putting the institutional contribution. So please put the institutional contribution there so that TETFund also knows it's not only, you are not disseminating their project idea only using their own money, you are using university's money. Or if you want another grant, it can go under others. You know, you have won another grant to go for conference and to talk about this particular under dissemination. You talk about, you put conference cost, maybe you have won some travel fellowship, and you are going to be talking about the output of this conference. So you put it there as well, so that it shows to TETFund, I'm looking for your money. Not only you are providing just very little, I'm also making effort to look for, you know, money for dissemination somewhere, and the project will benefit from it. And so to a very large extent, this is how the sample of the budget template for the full proposal looks like. Make sure that every section, you put everything in its own section. Don't cross carpet. The money for personnel, you take it and put it somewhere, you know, it's totally wrong. So like I've told you, that is the total budget. The template I just showed you now is for total budget. But there is also the budgeting which we do, which is usually on Gantt chart. When you do the Gantt chart, it's usually you specify the task. The Gantt chart, usually you do it to be able to show the timelines of every activity. You know, that's the second one. Usually nobody will tell you this, even in their in the template of TETFund. They will not ask you to do Gantt chart. Or maybe I've seen it somewhere, they ask for the Gantt chart if necessary. But it is a very good way of assigning responsibilities to each member of the research team, one. It is also a way of assigning timelines, how your activities will be done in chronological order, and then the allotted time for every activity, two. And number three is a way of planning the whole project cycle of 2 years, how it's going to start and when it is going to end. Three is also a way of showing that each and every one of the project members has some specific tasks to perform. So you know the dates, when you are starting, when you are ending, who is responsible, and then how much money is spent. During the time we were writing, our late Professor Obajit also taught us how to also even put your output and outcome and the research impact inside your Gantt chart. You can also do it like that. It's also a way of showing milestones of your research, the milestones, and then the impact of each activity, each objective. It's a way of showing how you are achieving each objective within the timeline and the people who are responsible, and then the time allotted. So Gantt chart, nobody will tell you to do this, but it's a very good thing to do, so that you also show that to the person reading, you know what to do. In fact, reducing the whole of your project into a chart. Sometimes I met one reviewer, he says, immediately what I do, I will look at the objectives and then straight away go to the Gantt chart. And then I will look at how the project flows from the beginning to the end. You should be able to tell a story. Even the milestones, the impacts, you know, the outcome, the output, they are able to tell a story that actually you are able to achieve your objectives. And now, I just put these other slides so that to describe for you, in budgeting, there are those things we call direct costs, and there are those other items we call indirect costs. So the direct costs are those costs that are directly related to producing the goods or services. They are those things that you do directly related to the project. And they are mostly the direct cost component are personnel, travel, equipment, and supplies. And then we define them here. Direct costs for personnel, salaries and wages, cost of salary for staff who will work the project, often broken down by position, hours, or percentage of time dedicated to the project. How we used to do the 2, 3 that has been won in IBB University. What we do is we allocate resources by seniority. If we say 1 million for every professor, or associate professor. We do it professorial cadre. Like for the whole project cycle, we are going to give the professors 1 million. And then the PI, we say take 40% more. So he will get 1.4 million. The cost of supervision and everything, 1.4, 1.5, sometimes 1.6 million for the PI, because he does the bulk of the work. So he has a little bit more than the professorial cadre. Then senior lecturers and lecturer one, we usually say maybe 800,000. And then the other mentees, we either is 400 or 450,000, like that. And then technicians, we give them like 150, because if you look at it, you will see that the job people will perform, it differs based on seniority, usually, the way we allocate our own. So there are also fringe benefits that are calculated. Actually, your personnel cost should be calculated based on the hours and the effort spent on the project. That's the best and the right way to do, so that at least people who dedicate more time will be able to earn more, as personnel cost. So there are other costs that people don't usually know. You can add additional costs with employment, such as health insurance, such as retirement contribution. You will not know the value of this until you are permitted to go. Maybe you are traveling to Germany to do a conference. Then they will say your travel health insurance, and then you have to pay. So if you have not budgeted for it, you see you will lose out. And then sometimes your bursary department, they also tax. If you already the tax they take from you, they will also tax every other earning that is coming from this, because whatever it is you are earning from research proposal is considered as revenue. So they will tax it as well. So you also pay for consultants and contractors under here. These fees for external experts, consultant. There was a project we wanted to do within IBB University. We didn't have a veterinary doctor who was an expert in fish diseases. And so we had to go to the Ministry of Agriculture, and we took a veterinarian from there. So this will be considered as a consultant because he's not a staff of the university. So you also calculate what you pay as personnel cost under this place. Of course, there is the budget for travel, expenses related to project-specific travel. For example, you are traveling from here to Kaduna to collect samples. You are traveling to go and do some analysis. You are traveling to be able to see farmers, to interact with them. You are traveling. So all forms of travel, lodging, and then the cost of travel includes transportation costs, because if you don't travel there, how do you go there? If you don't pay for the lodging, you will sleep over. And then meals, while you are on the traveling, you pay for meals. And I've had a reason, it's a very funny one. They say incidental. Somebody asked me if I have to smoke before I work, can I calculate it? I say, well, if you are able to budget it very craftily, you say incidental and you put some little money there, why not? And so long as you budget it responsibly, it can be taken care of. Whatever it is you need to be able to perform on the project should be budgeted for travel under this. Sometimes it is allowed to budget for conference attendance under travel. But for NRF, they have what they call dissemination. So conference attendance is usually budgeted as dissemination cost, not as travel costs in the case of NRF. And then there is cost for equipment. This is very straightforward. For other, if you are doing Horizon Europe, or you are doing IDRC, Canada, or bioinnovators of East Africa, they will want what they call equipment is typically something which you will buy, an item that with a useful lifespan of more than 1 year. And then usually they have a cost. I remember we were doing Horizon Europe, and then they say any equipment that is less than $5,000 is not considered as equipment. But for TETFund, they make no distinction. You want to buy spectrophotometer, you want to buy what do you call it? This table microscope, or you want to buy even hand phone is considered equipment. You want to buy a printer. All those things come under this place as what they call direct costs as equipment costs. There's also cost of supplies and materials. These are where for us in the core sciences, this is where we put the cost for consumables, some labware, some chemicals, some extraction kits, or for those doing agriculture, you want to use fertilizer, herbicides, all these are supplies. And then in the office, you buy paper, you buy ink cartridge, you buy those who are in education, teaching materials that you use for teaching primary or secondary school kids, all you put them under supply. Educational materials, all will come under office supplies, all will come under this. But for those, there are some people who also use questionnaires. You have to print a lot of questionnaires, designing and the cost of printing the questionnaires, all will come under these supplies here, And then there's what we call administrative costs. Some funders, they will allow you to put percentage of the budget as administrative costs, what you will pay to the university. We debated that in IBB University yesterday, and it was agreed based on my experience, talking to TETFund, administrative costs should not be more than 5% of the total budget, is what we agreed. We were operating 5% before, and then there was a review of the policy, research policy, and then it was raised to 10%. When we were going to apply it to an IDRC grant, 10%, you will not see how much it is until you win a very large amount of money. You see that 10% of the money will simply go back to the university as administrative cost. And then a professor was giving us an insight where money he won from England, they actually questioned why the very high administrative cost to the university. They had to get a written permission from the university to send there, even though it was agreed, but it was considered too excessive. So for best intent and purpose, I think for NRF, better we, target 5% of total budget. If, for example, you are asking for 45 million, like I have said, 5% will be about 2.75 million, which will not be too much to give university. Because remember, the monitoring and evaluation mechanism of the university, they will use these funds to be able to go around and see, to supervise your project. So be very wary of these two. You have to budget it inside. Then there are other costs, program costs, training and workshops. Of course, that's very straightforward. Outreach and communications. There are evaluation, M&E, budget for monitoring and evaluation activities. Like I just described, all these costs have to be built in. And then there are other, which we call sub-grant and subcontracts. This is where, for example, you are collaborating between IBB University and Abdulkadir Kure University. And when they win, the cost of subcontract to Abdulkadir Kure is taken out from the total cost there in Lapai, and they will send it down to Mina. So this is where to budget for it. And then any other, I have put miscellaneous expenses here, any other costs that do not fit into any of the above specified description. So any cost, you have to indicate what it is for. You put it inside the template, call it whatever. Do not, it must be noted that each cost should be labeled and described accordingly and put the cost there. And you should not call it miscellaneous. According to the workshop in TETFund I attended for grantmanship writing in Dubai in 2022, it is said categorically the first idea, the first suspicion of corruption is to see miscellaneous costs. So please try to remove it. Don't put anything miscellaneous. You can put additional costs for purchase of this, and then you describe it in the description format where you are going to do budget justification, but not to say miscellaneous costs. You know what we do in the university, you don't know, you want some other pocket money, but you don't know how to go. You see miscellaneous costs 250,000, and there is what like unexpected expenses. What do you mean unexpected? In project proposal writing, there is no such thing as unexpected costs. No, you budget appropriately. And remember, at the end of the budget year, if you have not been able to carry out that particular thing, or you didn't expend that cost, you are expected to return that money. Please take note of this. And then, of course, I've already spoken about budget justification. You have to justify everything, an explanation and description of the types of individual costs that make up each larger budgetary category. Makes it clear that all budget requests are reasonable and consistent with sponsor and grantee organization policies. There is generally no required format for budget justification. They should follow the same timeline and format and contain the same cost as the budget form. So a receiver should be able to place the justification side by side with the budget and to see the connection between each of the items. So you are budgeted for equipment from London, £150. At the end of the day, they search online, they see it's £130. Why did you add the £20 in justification? The £20 has been added to avoid fluctuation. In the last 2 months, fluctuation of Naira to the pound has been on the upward trend. So to avoid that kind of thing. So it's just an explanation so that anyone can understand. That's the reason for the budget justification section. And it is also in this template as well. Justify every cost, you know. So that is my presentation for today. I am going to conclude by saying that objectives of the research and activities in the methodology has to be very clear. It has to be unambiguous and enough for it to be able to justify the project impact. You must craft your objectives and your methodology section to do the activities in such a way that it's clear, everybody can understand, the reviewers can understand you. And it has to be very, very smart. It needs to be specific. Your objective must be specific. It must be measurable. So also your activities, they must be attainable, they must be realistic, and must be time-bound. And of course, it has the objectives and activities must be logical, one following the other, you know, just like you do in everyday thing. You start from those things that are known and then you delve into the areas that are unknown. It has to be relevant. Whatever objective you want to achieve must be relevant to the objective. Whatever activity you are going to do must also be relevant. Each must be relevant to solving the problem that you have conceptualized. For budgeting, budget sufficient money. Requested funds must be sufficient to deliver the project. Ensure that whatever it is you are asking for should be able to deliver. It shouldn't be too low, and it, again, should not be extraordinary too large to seem as if you are asking TETFund to use the grant proposal to solve all of your problems. It cannot happen. There has to be consistency with the template in the budgeting. Make sure you are consistent, you follow the budget template as it is. Permissible limits must be adhered to, where they say don't spend more than 25%. When you have done your calculation and everything, you ensure that you go back and check the percentages. If they are too high, adjust as much as possible. And then, of course, I always say currency must be in the local operating currency. We are in Nigeria, we are operating in Naira. I cannot say it enough. If you are importing and the cost for import is in dollars, you calculate in dollars, you do the exchange rate plus what they would charge you, plus a cost of inflation, so that you are not shortchanged. Lastly, a fundable project, a fundable full project is that which leads to maximum delivery of project impact, which is that which explains how to solve the problem you have conceptualized in your concept note. It is that which delivers all the promises inside your proposal, and you should make sure that it does that adequately. I'd like to acknowledge TETFund for always giving us the opportunity. Aegis, I've been talking and sharing knowledge with people on Aegis. I appreciate them too. I was able to go to grantsmanship, train the trainer abroad in 2020. Recently, I've also become a resource person for TETFund. We did a 5-day workshop in a Concord Hotel, Abuja. 2 weeks ago, I was taken as a resource person. I'm now officially a resource person for TETFund, and I'm moving gradually. I am praying that I can be considered as one of the reviewers of full proposal or concept notes in TETFund, so that we continue to share the wealth of experience. So we continue to thank TETFund for all those opportunities. We'll thank our late Professor Obaje, who won the first NRF in 2016, and he pushed some of us, and today all the things he taught us, we are now able to also share our knowledge. He said we can succeed, and truly We succeeded and we are helping others to succeed. All glory to God, and may his soul continue to rest in peace. I thank my friend, Professor Katampe. He taught us what is called NRF key points. If you don't know those key points, these are the ones that we keep sharing. The NRF key points, if you don't know them, these are the ones we highlight when we share knowledge. It's because people like my friend, Professor Katampe, has shared with us to make us win and to also help others to win. My friend, Professor Musa Aipino of the VC of Summit University of Far, he will soon be finishing his tenure next year. He taught us what is meant by the power of small grant money. You start from IBR, to 2 million. Now it's 5 million. And if you are able to use that efficiently, then you can now apply for bigger ones. I thank him very much. We are still in touch. He gave me an opportunity during his presentation too. I picked that from him. I thank a whole range of my colleagues, my vice chancellors, Federal University. Duse gave me the opportunity to first talk about this UNIMED, Borno State University. I've gone to so many other universities after that, including Professor Sidi of Bayero University, who invited me for development of ethics committee on research. We thank them so very much for the opportunity to talk. I cannot thank Aegis enough. I keep giving this, I think in the combined total, Aegis is ranking tops now. And the organization giving me opportunity to share knowledge. And they even did a statistics last year. So many people won. And we hope that among the ones that have won now, they will also win more and more and more. Lastly, all my research colleagues, one is sitting right across me here, Professor Kabir Mohammed Adamu. We always exchange ideas. We write proposals too. My co-PI, he's my co-PI, our partners, our students. Some of them are listening to me. I push them every grand cycle. I say, go and write, go and write. Some of them, they win travel fellowship. Some of them, they win. One just recently, a PhD student of ours, Hafsat, she emerging scientist, a new, what do you call it? A new journal, on animal sciences, animal research. She has won it, Animal Report, in Saudi Arabia. It's a Q1 journal, just started newly. They want high quality publications from the third world, Africa, and the rest of Latin America. In King Abdulaziz University in Saudi Arabia. So they gave fellowship. Her work on insect protein was immediately chosen. It's the first in that series. And she got $300, and she was even also able to share $200. I think $200, yes. And when she changed, you can see $200 maybe is nothing, but when you change it in Naira, now almost 300 or something thousand. And then even me, that I encourage her as her supervisor, one of her supervisors, she gave me some 50,000 in it. Is to keep body and soul together. It means that to research proposal writing, it gets you money. She has been able, she has been able to publish her work. It gives credence to what she's doing that is high quality, and encourages her that really you can get support, grant support. Not only in terms of grant proposal writing, you can do fellowship, travel fellowship, you can also get. So we encourage everyone, every student, every lecturer, that there is money to be made for you to do your work. We know the conditions around the country are very, very terrible, but you can use grant proposal writing to bring money into the university, to do your research, to publish papers, send your students to conferences, and also raise your profile. So on this note, we keep thanking all those who support who are interested in research. For all of you who are present today for this talk, I celebrate you. I encourage you to continue. Even when you don't get it, it will happen. We did for over 4 or 5 years before we really won the first one. So please keep at it. Don't give up. It's a learning process, and you will all have reasons to smile at the end of the day. So at this note, I thank you for your attention. And if there are questions, comments, I will be very delighted to answer. Thank you once again for your attention. I can see we are almost breaching 500. We are 460 something. thank you for coming, and thank you, Aegis, for giving the platform. I yield back to my Vice President to take it up from there. Thank you. So I'm done. John, I think you can take it back, and then we do some question and answer, and then we can close for the day. Thank you so much.
Please, with our favorite emoji, can we celebrate Professor Mohammed Aliyu Paiko? Can we just clap and can we just celebrate him? You see, while we were just teaching, I was just scrutinizing my own proposal. I was just laughing some of the errors, that are in my own, and I'm very sure that at the end of this meeting, I'm going back to rework something. When Professor was talking, he said something about returning back change. When I heard that part, I say, wow. He was talking about every kobo must be attached to a tax. I think this is awesome. Please, can we celebrate him again? This to me, this is very timely. And I want to believe that at the end of this meeting, a lot of us will go back to correct our proposal. And I'm so sure and I'm so confident that when next we'll be having another meeting, we'll receive a lot of testimonies of how a lot of our proposals came to play. Let's celebrate Professor again. We're going to give room for question, 3 questions. But before that, I want to invite our Director of Training and Development in Aegis, that is in person of Dr. Wazani Dauda Padnam, to come up for his vote of thanks to Professor. Yeah, his vote of thanks. Are you available?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes. Please, you have the mic, sir.
Very clear.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very clear.
If I'm audible. Yeah. Once again, good morning. Good morning now. There's no afternoon or evening because we should be all be Nigerians. So once again, good morning.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, or afternoon. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And first of all, Professor Mohammed Aliyu Paiko, officially, this is the host of this event is actually Professor Paiko himself with his team, because the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave Society, which was launched and last year, Professor Paiko is the president of the society, and is able vice presidents and the membership, which is about 500 members on the call. So officially, this is the age has officially handed over the coordination and management of webinar, because as of that December last year, age has the 2 years training has crossed over 30,000 researchers from 105 countries. So officially, this is the first training started by the society. So I'm putting this call to say the society is open for application, under Professor Paiko's leadership. Is open for application. I guess the link will be dropped by any of the vice presidents or any of the leaders in the call. So this is to say a big thanks, a big appreciation. We've had success rates in each platform, in both are the same thing, just that the Aegis gives a platform for other research, because very soon, I'm saying it because we're going to see a lot of activities very soon. So people will come to be part of what is happening in Aegis, not just being part of attending training and learning, but you'll be part of it. And like Prof was saying, last year's training, we had series of training, the NRF training, the grant writing training and all. 41 persons won NRF. That 41 that's about 2.5 billion. So that's how success rate we've had in this. And so please, everything that has been shared, everything that has been discussed, of course, the issues of, I see a lot of questions about Professor's slide and the rest, that's in Prof's hand. But usually, I guess it's the society that determines what happens to that. So this is to say a big thanks to Prof. I'll be very conservative here, but to meet a vice chancellor who is still active to try to be committed to giving community impacts like Prof is quite rare. And personally, is someone I respect so much. I appreciate. Thank you so much, Prof, for being around, and thanks everyone for being on the call. Wish every one of us a great day ahead as we proceed in the discussion. So thank you, and bye for now. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Wazani, we appreciate you. We appreciate the good work also you are doing with age. And we'll be learning a lot from you. We want to really appreciate you for your effort. God bless you, sir. And without wasting more of our time, before we exit, we want to give room for 3 questions. And just 3 questions. We'll take the questions and then Prof will answer it, and then we will conclude for the day. And the first one, Chinedu Ann had been up for long. One Chinedu, please, I don't know that you can go on with your question, sir. Chinedu, I'm seeing a name, Chinedu, Ann up. Please, Chinedu, go on with your question, sir. You can unmute your mic, Chinedu. There's Evelyn. Evelyn, your hand is up, please.
Evelyn, please go on with your question. Evelyn, go on with your question. If Evelyn is not around, can we have a lot of hands up and they are not communicating? Okay, sir, we have hello?
Hello, sir. Hello, moderator, sir.
Yes, please go on with your question, ma.
Hello. Okay, this is the secretary at H. We'll be taking questions after the announcement, sir.
Okay, ma.
Okay, Dr. John, allow them to do the announcement, then we can take the question later. Go ahead, Grace.
Okay, go on with the announcement, ma.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. You're welcome to the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave, AGE, and we are super delighted to have you join us for today's keynote lecture. I quite believe that it was impactful. From the comment section, we can see that you can tell that you got value for your time. Professor Mohammed Aliyu Paiko took his time to, dive into the intricacies of submitting the full proposal. Thank you so much, everyone, once again for joining us So this is the Academic and Grants Writing Enclave Age, and at Age we have several academies at the Academic and Grants Writing Enclave, and one of the major divisions of this is the Academic Writers Academy. This is a 6-week practical training for authors on high impact research paper writing. If you want to write and publish in high impact journals, Age is your go-to for all the training that you need. And may I tell you that the cohort 6 is coming up on the 21st of February. That's just a few weeks to go. Today is the 31st of January. So we just have about 3 weeks to this cohort, and registration is still ongoing at the academy. It's going to last for 6 weeks. If you're a researcher or an academic who has been dreaming of publishing in high impact journals, you want to be recognized globally, you want your work to be cited, then you need to register at the Academic Writers Academy. Here you will gain practical skills, and it's not just for students, it's for early career researchers, postgraduate students, academic faculty at any level. You'll be gaining hands-on experience from seasoned researchers and scholars in the field. And we also have the Grant Writers Academy. This is a 3-week training certification course for researchers and non-profit organizations, for people who want to master the art of writing grant proposals, winning grant proposals. You can register today. The QR code is on your screen. You can just scan the QR code to register, or you can click on www.academicenclave.org/GWA to enroll at the Grant Writers Academy. We also have the Data Analysis Academy. This is an 10 weeks training course for people who want to delve into data analysis. Here you will learn how to streamline your survey and data collection. You learn how to master data analysis techniques for research and projects. You also gain hands-on training with statistical software tools. We have about 8 software tools that are taught at the academy. We have Cocoa Toolbox, we have Excel, we have GraphPad Prism, we have Python. You just name it, R is there, and a whole lot of others. You learn how to turn raw data into insightful interpretations. Then you can build essential data skills for academic and professional success. And this is not just for academics. Data analysis is a broad field used anywhere. So you can enroll at the Data Analysis Academy. This is going to be the next cohort after the Academic Writers Academy this year. And we also have the Research Innovation Academy. The Research Innovation Academy is a 3-week training course. It's a hub for groundbreaking research innovation as a core pillar driving creativity and impact. Now, as an academic, you shouldn't limit your research work to just the academic space. This academy will help you delve into innovation, and then you foster unconventional thinking and interdisciplinary collaboration. It will empower you as a researcher to be able to turn your ideas into tangible outcomes. And Age is on all social media platforms. You can follow us on all our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. And just like you enjoyed today's lecture, I want to tell you that on our YouTube channel, we have a whole lot of other lectures on our YouTube channel, and you can access them for free at the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave. That's our YouTube channel. We have a whole lot of resources, a whole lot of YouTube videos and content that you would find valuable as an academic. So follow us on all our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn at Academic and Grant Writing Enclave.org. If you'd love to make inquiries, you can write to us on our email, academicgrantwritingenclave@gmail.com. And also want to introduce you to Trade Secrets to Scopus publication. This is a book written by the esteemed Dr. Wazani Dauda, a book that has traveled widely across Nigeria to different states. We've delivered copies of this book to different scholars and academics across Nigeria. And if you want to purchase your copy, this is for the scholar who refuses to stay invisible. If you want to gain global recognition, if you want to, publish in Scopus Index journals, write high-impact papers, this book is your go-to guide. Like the person who wrote the forward, Professor Hafsat, said, she said it's your mentor in print. So this book will guide you from the beginning till the very end. It's just 10,500 naira for the soft copy, while the hard copy goes for 15,000 naira. And nationwide delivery is available. Just scan the QR code on your screen to purchase your copy, and you can also send a WhatsApp message or call 081 0945 3938 to purchase your copy. 081 0945 3938 to purchase your copy. And also, we have an academic mentorship community headed by Dr. Wadzani Dauda. It's called The Forge. As of now, we have over 5,600 members at The Forge. This is a platform for scholars of any caliber, whether you're just a young career researcher or you're a professor, you're a PhD scholar, you're a master's student. The Forge is your go-to place to be relieved from all academic stress. And we usually hold contacts every month. We had the January contacts. The video is still right there on YouTube. Please join The Forge if you would love to belong to a community of researchers who understand your pain, a community of researchers who know what you're going through. And Dr. Wadzani shares insightful content, messages, and write-ups that he does by himself. So you can click on the link on the screen to join, or chat up 081. I saw somebody requesting for the number all over again. 081 0945 3938 for more inquiries or the direct link to join in. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for today's lecture. I'll be handing over to the moderator right away for questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Aegis, for this beautiful announcement. Now we'll move towards the questions and answer. Without wasting more of our time, we'll just be giving room for just 3 questions because we don't have time on our side. And so I'll be giving room for 3 questions. I'll be looking at those that has indicated to ask question. Please, if you know you want to ask question, you can indicate by raising your hand too, by clicking the hand button. Just 3 questions.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Please
Can
go
I
on,
go ahead? Can I go ahead, please?
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Let me first of all thank Professor Mohammed Aliyu Paiko for that exceptional lecture that exposed my weakness. My name is Dr. Chukwuemeka Tena. Mine is just a request, please. I want to plead if Prof can hand over the slide to the administrator so that we can have it, please.
Just go to the comment section. The link to the slide has just been posted. You can download it straight there.
All right, thank you, Prof.
Asking for a slide, just go to the comment section and then you'll see the link to the slide there. It's available for everyone. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Go on with your question.
My name is Engineer Jai David. Thank you very much, Prof, and every organizer of this webinar. I have a question on the budget template. At the end of the section of the budget template, I saw there that there is a section for order. After dissemination, travels, and all of the others, there is a section for orders. What are the basic things that should be in that section for the budget? Thank you very much.
That's section.
Thank you very much.
Just listen.
Please, can we allow for
I have a burning question. I've raised my hand. The template has been prepared.
Please, can we allow please, can we take the question one after the other? Can we allow Prof to handle this first question before we go to the next? Please, so that there will be orderliness. Yeah, Prof, over to you, sir.
If they say others, if it means something not on the template, Any other thing, you know, researches are so many diverse areas. When you meet people who are doing different kinds of research, engineering research, you know, petroleum engineering, there are certain things that this template is not tailor-made just for general purpose. So any other thing that you need to put, which is not inside that particular the template, anything at all which you need to mention, which the template has not provided anything for, you can see it's just down there. Other things that have not been mentioned and or have not been provided for, you can use that section for. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Please, any other question? Yes. I saw Yahaya. Can you go on with your question, please? Yahaya, can you go on with your question? It's as if Yahaya is not available. There's one Pascaline online. Please, Pascaline, can you go with your question?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Oh, sorry. My name is Ayeni Feromi. I'm from Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna. Sorry, I really want to appreciate Prof. God bless you, Prof. Please, I want to ask question based on the there's a form on the TETFund portal that was sent by our principal investigator, and this form comprises of 10 lists, which is the principal investigator and the co-principal investigator. So we now ask those that are in team, like we, that we are the co-researcher and the mentee, is our name supposed to be, like, are we supposed to put our name and sign as they ask principal investigator to sign, and the ethical committee and other, and the head of the institution? Exactly. The team member of the research, are they supposed to put down their name and sign as well?
Exactly. Just to answer your question quickly, that form is supposed to be what they say consent form. You are a member of the team, except your name is on that and you sign. Once you sign, it means you are giving your consent that whatever it is that has been submitted, you are part of it, and you give your consent as part of the research team. So you must sign. Even if it's going to ethics committee, the ethics committee will scrutinize the members of that team. I have an ethics committee. I'm the chairman of my ethics committee. Usually we'll want that form, see the names of people who are carrying out. At the ethics committee, we find out to ensure that those people are able to carry out whatever it is they say they are going to carry out at the ethics committee. At TETFund, they want to know all of you who are part of that team, and to show that you are part of the research team, you have to put your name and sign. As Vice Chancellor, I have to see all the team members and their signatures before I give my consent as institutional consent that all these people fulfill the condition. Because sometimes if you don't do that, some people, after the grant has been approved, if you have an emperor as a PI, that's why I took time to explain PI. Your PI must be team player. Sometimes some PIs, until the research is signed off from the university, then they'll go and input some of their friends from somewhere. Then you come and begin to see that things will change. We have addressed so many issues of TETFund proposal writing, where so many sharp practices have happened, you know, from people taking monies and not declaring to their members, up to people adding names of those who were not part of the concept ab initio. Even now, there's a quarrel going on somewhere. Some people who did the concept note, deliberately some people's names were left out. So in the writing the full proposal now, we are insisting, no, if his name was on the concept note, his name must be in the full proposal. So that list is your checklist to say yes. Once you see that you are given and you have signed, it means you are a member of that team. Okay?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello. My name is Dr. Balogun.
Yes.
My question is, can another member of co-researcher be from another university?
Exactly. The last one we won, we had participants from 3 universities. We had from IBP University. We have from my university, Abdulkadir Kure University. We also had from Nile University, a private university, Abuja, Nile University. And so for everyone must be able to know themselves and must be able to know who is doing what. You know, at this full proposal writing, you need to know yourself so that it doesn't create problem, you know. So multiple university even gives you more leverage. It gives you more opportunities, gives you more potential for acceptance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor, sir. Because our time is fast spent, I think we will stop at this junction without so that people can face other activities for the day. Once again, we want to appreciate everyone who have taken time to be in this meeting. We want to also appreciate Professor for the wonderful webinar. Professor, sir, we really appreciate, we strongly appreciate. We pray for more replenishment. We pray that God will strengthen you the more. And we are anticipating and we hope and we look forward for great testimonies that after now, a lot of proposal will scale through. And when next we will converge again for meetings like this, we will hear some of this testimony. Thank you. And then this is where the meetings end. God bless each and every one of us. Amen.
Thank you very, very much. And God bless each and every one of you. Bye-bye. For those of you writing full proposal, I wish you all the best, that all of you win, and we shall have cause to celebrate how you will go for your defense. Thank you so much, and God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
This is the house. Daddy's house. Daddy, this is the.
Mercy. Who do this thing? Who do this thing?
Z.